Cinema Classics is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center at 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.com.
The award-winning Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to the shows online at WCBE.org and like us on Facebook.
Please, we're trying to bump those numbers up beyond like 50. We could get over 50, I think I'd be a happy man. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
And I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics.
It is.
And we are at Gateway Film Center, as usual. And we are about to embark on an educational adventure here. We are launching a film education program. It begins with our first film appreciation class, How to See a Movie.
Yeah, it's called Film School.
Well, yeah, Film School.
Right.
We're offering Film School.
Which is cool.
Film, _S, cool,
Right.
as in film is cool.
We have 4 classes coming up.
Mhm.
Each Wednesday in June.
6:30 to 8:30
6:30, 8:30, with a break.
Yep.
And our first class is coming right up.
That's right. Essentially, we are going to be talking about. There's no homework. There's no tests. It's just a conversation. Hopefully, an enlightening conversation that we'll have with eager film-loving students who want to talk about basically how to see a movie, how to get the most out of the movies you see, how to talk about them, how to articulate what it is you did or did not like about a particular film.
What did you miss when you saw the film? Because it's a work of art. It's going to be filled with possibilities that are visual and the audio as well. We'll be paying attention to everything. And what do brilliant directors like Mike Nichols put into their films for this full appreciation for its organic unity?
Right?
And we're going to be looking at that and saying to ourselves, I missed that.
You're kind of sounding a little highfalutin and academic.
Think so?
When you say we're going to look at organic unity. Organic unity. You know, what a great use of negative space. An organic unity. Here, look, we're going to look at the major components of film. We're going to look at story, visual design, cinematography, editing, directing, acting, the major components, and talk about how they come together to make a great film and how when they don't come together, a film can suffer for that lack. Let's talk about the films we're going to...
how about that? The first one we're going to have is The Graduate. Mike Nichols is a hero of mine, recently died.
Yeah.
You're going to find everything about cinema in that movie.
Right. We're also going to talk about Casablanca.
Oh, Casablanca.
Another perfect example, often referred to as the happiest of happy accidents in Hollywood history.
It is.
The movie is nevertheless a rich artistic experience. We'll also talk about Jaws, which is considered, the movie that ruined Hollywood and put the emphasis on blockbusters. Yet, however, it is an artistic masterpiece every bit as much as it is a commercial masterpiece.
And you know something? I'm going to really enjoy that night because that's a favorite of yours.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since I've seen it, and you've kind of made me conscious of it as a work of art. And I'm so interested to hear what you'll have to say about that.
Definitely turn you around on that one.
And I wanted to go back for a second on Casablanca to say the American Film Institute listed as the #1 romantic film of all time.
Right.
And so
no matter what list the AFI breaks down, if they put horror, if they made a list of the greatest horror films, Casablanca would end up there somewhere. That's how great that movie is. In addition to those films, we'll also talk about Chinatown, Roman Polanski's 1974.
Yeah, that's the second week is Chinatown.
Film noir starring Jack Nicholson, and it all culminates with a discussion of what many people, many critics, many film scholars, the AFI even, has identified as the single greatest Hollywood film of all time, Citizen Kane.
All right.
Now that makes a lot of people who aren't film scholars, who aren't film critics, who aren't necessarily even film fans, it makes them nuts that that film is considered the greatest.
All those people who would like the Godfather.
Because here's what happens.
To be #1.
People hear that, and they go and they see it, and they don't know why. They don't get it. They don't understand it. It's not an emotional.
For sure.
It's not an emotionally satisfying movie. It's not like It's not like E.T. It doesn't have a lot of the commercial elements to it that people identify with a movie being Best Picture. It's not like Rain Man.
Orson Welles begins it by telling you in the first 5 minutes everything that's going to happen. He breaks the rules.
Well, he breaks a lot of rules.
He does. And people who see it, I always try to say, look it, this is not going to be your favorite movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it will be
But you'll understand.
the most influential movie.
Yeah, you
of
will
all
understand.
time.
You will understand why it ends up on so many lists like
So-
that. So there's it's a total of what, 5 films?
Yes, 5 films, 4 weeks. And what happened? There are thousands of films. These are the ones we've selected because we feel that they can best express the principles of good film going. That is, the things that we can see are going to be evidence in those movies. We're going to come away with a good feeling about those movies, and we will see them better than we ever saw them before.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Here's my, I think, humble goal, John, in offering this course, is how many times do you talk to somebody who has seen a film, they want to talk about the film, and you, being, you want
Right.
to talk, you want to understand what
Right.
it was they liked or didn't like about a film, and the conversation goes nowhere. Usually it's not, they might just say, oh, I really liked it, and you go, well, what about it?
Oh, I liked it, man.
No, it was really good. It was really
good.
fun. It was really.
You got to see it.
Yeah, it was really great. You got to see it. Okay, well, what about it? And you just keep running into this wall. It's not that the person doesn't really believe that the film is good or that they hate it. It's just that because they don't necessarily read film criticism, or they don't necessarily, or haven't necessarily studied film analysis in school, they don't have the tools to articulate necessarily what they did or didn't like. That's what we hope to achieve. That's what I hope to achieve.
Oh yeah, and I'm with you. We want to move away from just recounting plot.
Mhm.
Hey, what's it about? Well, this guy, da 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 da. That's okay,
Mhm.
but what really we want to say what it's about? We want to say it's about the fact that a young man who graduates from college doesn't necessarily graduate from life. Okay?
Yeah, interesting.
So,
Wow, that was great.
So,
I hope you save that one for when we talk about the graduate.
So, I mean, in other words, we'll be talking theme, which would be the central ideas of a film. And
Well,
spinning
story,
off of there.
story begets the themes, right?
Yeah.
Or it should rather, it should illuminate those themes for us. Yeah, we'll talk about that stuff. Let's talk about the films a little bit more, just briefly.
Okay.
We start with The Graduate,
Yeah.
right? We start with The Graduate. We're going to talk about that alongside of Casablanca.
Yeah.
And we'll mainly focus on theme and story.
Right. And some story elements, which
Mhm.
include symbolism, allegory,
Got it.
point of view. So we're going to be talking about some of the more specific elements of each one of those films. And we'll have clips that will show and will evidence the points we're
Yeah.
hoping to see in those.
Right. And then we move on to cinematography and editing, and that is a big umbrella
Yeah.
category.
Wow.
Basically, every time you open your eyes and look at a film,
Right.
you are absorbing editing and cinematography. We'll break that down a little bit. We'll focus only on Chinatown
Yeah.
that week. Chinatown, if you have not seen it, is a wonderful film noir. Obviously, it's a 1970s film noir, which is aping the films that came before it, namely the great film noir of the 1940s,
Yeah.
many of which starred Humphrey Bogart.
Well, this is directed by Roman Polanski, certainly controversial in himself.
And, yeah,
He appears.
for sure. He appears in a very key
Okay,
role,
right.
we'll talk about in the class. Also co-stars as the film's villain, John Huston,
Oh!
who was a great director of many of those film noir
Oh,
that the
exactly.
film is paying homage to,
And a
namely The Maltese Falcon.
Yeah. He even appears in his own films, such as The Treasure of Sierra Madre.
Mhm.
And he is...
No, that wasn't him. Oh yeah, he was in it.
Right, he
That
was. He's
he
the one
directed
who-
that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Right.
but I mean, when he
I got
appears...
confused because it stars his dad.
Yeah, that's right, Walter Houston. Anyway, he is such a commanding presence. When you see him in Chinatown, you will
Mhm.
not be able to take your eyes off of him,
Yeah,
and you will be mesmerized by how he plays a tycoon.
yeah, isn't that great when you think of John Huston? Sometimes the great directors show up in these smaller supporting roles, and they're just brilliant.
Hey,
Yeah.
a good example is Orson Welles himself.
Yeah,
I mean,
we talk about Citizen Kane is. I think my theory is that when many people watch Citizen Kane, because he plays for the bulk of the film Kane in his 40s and up,
Right.
50s, 60s, however old he is supposedly when he dies. I don't think that many people realize how young Orson Welles was at the time. He appears as his younger self, he was 24 when he made the movie or something like that.
Somewhere in the mid-20s, yeah.
He appears like that, but he inhabits Kane's older self so completely and so naturally. It's hard to believe that he wasn't a 55, 60-year-old man.
Sure. What he was a genius.
Yes, he was indeed a genius.
And even when he doesn't direct, such as the Third Man.
Mm-hmm. Carol Reed directed it. So that's what they say, but
I know. I mean, even then, I can never forget him as the light comes on his face as he's in the doorway.
mm-hmm.
And even then, I suspect he had something to do with that
Not
shot.
a traditionally good-looking guy, not your typical star, but yet so just filled with dynamic energy and charisma.
Let me
It's
ask
hard
you
to
this.
take your eyes off Orson Welles.
I like to identify Jaws as your contribution to this, in the sense that of all the films that we could have taken, you wanted Jaws. What made you select Jaws?
Because most people love it, and I mean, I think most people love that movie and return to it time and again. I just thought it's such a masterwork that it has so much affection. People have so much affection for it, but I suspect that they don't know why it's so great or why it works on them in the ways
Yes.
that it does.
Yeah.
I think most of the focus, and this shouldn't come as a surprise, is on the shark. And everybody knows the story of how the giant mechanical shark didn't work, and so Spielberg was forced to create tension in other ways, and create suspense in other ways, and create horror in other ways. But what for me really makes that movie sing is the character work and the little ways that Spielberg shoots his characters and places them within the action and places his camera in relation to the actors, that brings out all of that suspense. And ultimately, I think there's other more human things going on in that film than just our primal fear of this giant shark.
And how lasting is Jaws? Nobody I know swims in the ocean without thinking about that film.
Well, I don't swim in the ocean because of that
Because
film.
of that film, right? But isn't
I
that-
don't even go in up to my knees.
All right, so film class is coming up.
Yes, Film's Cool, How to See a Movie. It's through the Gateway Film Center. You go to gatewayfilmcenter.com. You will find Film's Cool. Click on there. All the information you need to know to enroll is on there. Please, it's really affordable.
Are you kidding me? The biggest bargain.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, look, take it just to see if you can get a word in.
We're going to tie ourselves to make sure that, because part of this is to have people become more comfortable with discussing movies, and that's our job.
Yeah, and I just want to make very clear that Gateway Film Center is newly nonprofit.
Oh yes.
This is one of our educational initiatives, and so it's for a good cause. You want to support the Film Center and all the wonderful, great, maverick movies that we bring to Columbus.